accompaniment or MIDI sequenced accompaniment. I see this as now a third threat based on technology to actual humans doing something that, I mean, if it's something that humans can't do or sounds that humans can't make, then I think that technology is that's the plus side of technology, right? Is doing things that can't be done otherwise, and the downside is doing things that can be done by humans. I find so. I like the idea of being able to make new sounds and unusual things that maybe you haven't heard or imagined before that you can do with technology. But I don't like using technology to replace or imitate instruments and replace people.
Yeah, like one of the main technologies that I've really noticed lately in mainly pop culture is auto-tune.
Oh yeah, sure.
It's in everything now.
Yeah. Well, that's just replace. I mean, auto-tune. You mean real-time auto-tune or in studio work?
Well, both.
Yeah. I mean, studio work, they're just fixing the stuff that's not meant for a concert anyway. Auto-tune doesn't bother me so much because all it's doing is helping somebody who can't sing in tune. So, I mean, it's a crutch, you could say, for somebody who maybe is a better dancer than singer or something like that, But it doesn't replace anyone. Yeah. It just allows people who are less competent to do stuff, which I don't have a huge problem with that. Yeah. I mean, philosophically, it's less disturbing to me than the role of technology as something that replaces humans. I mean, when it replaces humans, say on an assembly line making cars, a lot of people lose their jobs. You could argue that the job that they do is really boring, and so maybe they can find something more interesting to do. I'm not 100% sure if they're going to find anything more interesting, so I don't know if that argument works completely. But it's true that replacing musicians changes a lot about how music sounds in a certain way in terms of the ensemble experience, and hopefully playing music, for musicians is not as boring as putting steering wheels on cars on assembly lines. I mean, it's something that you assume they'd enjoy doing. Yeah. I guess there's some jobs that musicians don't take too seriously. Some kinds of gigs. Yeah. But I hope it's still. I don't know if there's necessarily if there's a good enough argument to replace them with a machine to do them the favor of not having to play this boring music. I don't know if that works for me.
Well, I guess. Are there any recent technologies, stuff that maybe just came out that you find most interesting?
Well, there's this. I have to think of the name of it. There's a company in Germany that presented something at the NAMM show last year, which was very impressive. But they haven't really come out with the commercial version of it yet. This was just a demo of it. So I don't know if it's going to work as well as it did in the demo, but the demo kind of blew everyone away because what it was you could put in a recording into this software, and they have software already. The idea being that you put in a recording of a single instrument, violin or a trumpet, and it can allow you to move things around and shift things and retune things. I'm trying to think of the name of the software. We have it.
Pro Tools?
No. Not Pro Tools, but I can check later. Yeah. I've got it in the back. But now they've got this new version. Well, the idea is that you see the sound like you would on Pro Tools or something like that, but then you can take it and shift quite easily segments of it, and you can and it'll kind of break it up into the notes for you already. So you don't have to chop it up too much yourself. It does that segmentation for you, and then and a lot of people use it for repairing things that are out of tune, that kind of stuff, or wrong notes.
Yeah.
But the new version will take a polyphonic recording, so a whole band playing.
Oh.
You know, you can have a trumpet, drums, bass, piano, and it'll
Yes.
separate them all out, which is kind of been the holy grail of, you know, music technology, audio processing, audio analysis for a while. How to do that well, and the demo they gave was quite amazing. They did a jazz quartet, and one of the demos. I mean, there were a couple of demos they did. One of them was with the jazz quartet, and they separated everything out, and then they changed the trumpet line. You know, just shifted the notes and changed the melody of the trumpet line. You know, this was a single recording. It wasn't a multi-track recording originally. So, or another thing they did was somebody playing strumming a steel string guitar, and it could even break that up and separate it out so that you could, you know, playing E major.
And you could separate each.
Yeah, you could separate each note of the E major chord, for instance, and change that to an E minor chord.
Wow.
You know, just by shifting
really cool.
the G sharp to a G, this kind of thing, you know. And pretty impressive stuff.
Yeah, that's really... Wow.
Yeah. And very seamless.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's ever going to... But it's not a real-time tool or anything, you know. It's a non-real-time studio kind of tool, but it's pretty interesting idea.
What, if it does get commercialized, what effect do you think it'll have on the music industry?
Well, I think that in terms of taking old recordings and cleaning them up, taking old recordings for remix, I think that it'll open up the door to allowing you to take an old recording of anything and extract any part of it you want. You know, you just want to take out Hendrix guitar solo and leave Mitch Mitchell and Noel Redding and just isolate that. You'll be able to do that kind of stuff, and I think for sampling and whatnot and remixes, I think it'll change that whole world for sure. You know, because they'll be able just to grab this one thing, you know, grab the vocals from something without any of the other stuff, without having to go back to the master tapes. You know, and there's a lot of stuff that master tapes are either gone or never were made.
Right.
You know? But it also, you know, even with a soloist playing, like be able to fix things and change minor details and things in a way that you can't do now. So, but you know, it's kind of stunning to see it work in the demo. Aside from that, what was the question again?
Are there any new recent technologies that you find interesting?
Well, let me think. Other stuff. Not so much. I mean, I think we're at a place where things haven't really changed much in the last 10 years in terms of, I'm thinking more now in the direction of, I mean, commercial software is, of course, improved. Non-real-time stuff has improved. But in terms of real-time processing stuff, I think we kind of, things haven't changed much in about the last 10 years. There's some small little things, but I haven't seen anything that really amazed me too much in the last 10 years.
Do you think certain genres use more technology than others?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, it depends. You know, I mean, certain genres use technology in more unusual ways than others. You know, I mean, you go to Nashville.